Welcome everyone again. We are talking about learning how to reduce the risk of illness in your community through NASA's Globe Observer Mosquito Habitat Mapper. Today for SciStarter Live, our virtual event series that happens about every week. I am joined by two different individuals from the Globe Observer Mosquito Habitat Mapper. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my share so that I can have them introduce themselves. Dr. Rusty Lowe, would you like to say hello?
Hi, thank you, Emma. So my name is Rusty Lowe. I am the science lead for NASA's Globe Observer Mosquito Habitat Mapper, and I am accompanied today by Cassie Sofing. Cassie, please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Rusty. I'm really excited to be here today, too. My name is Cassie Sofing, and I'm the campaign coordinator for Globe Mission Mosquito. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. And Cassie has volunteered to answer questions in real time. If you have questions for us and you don't want to wait till the end of the talk, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to those as quick as we can. So I think without further ado, let's get started, Emma and Roland.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again and go ahead.
Okay, we're going to start out with a couple questions just to warm us up. So here's the first question: true or false? Both male and female mosquitoes bite humans. So true or false?
Ooh. We have some serious thoughts here. A couple more. Okay, we're above 80%, so I'm going to end in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty. How'd we do?
Well, we did really well. In fact, people who are in the know about mosquitoes know that it's the female mosquitoes that need to bite animals in order to get blood to create their eggs, and so it's only female mosquitoes that actually bite. So we are very, very knowledgeable here. This is fantastic. Let's move on to the next question really quickly. And here's a good one: smelly feet attract some species of mosquitoes. So do smelly socks, can they play a role in getting bitten?
I get bit on my ankles all the time, so I feel like I know what my answer would be. That's 76%. 3, 2, 1. All right. How'd we do?
Thank you. We did pretty well. It's true that smelly feet and dirty socks actually do attract mosquitoes. And the reason why is because mosquitoes have really amazing chemoreceptors. They actually smell, and they are looking for their prey, the organisms that they're going to bite in order to make for the blood meal to make their eggs. They locate us through the lactic acid that comes out through our sweat, through the CO2 that we breathe, other kinds of chemicals that are found in our sweat. So if there's more of that sweat around, like in your socks, that could be a place where mosquitoes are going to go. But I'm so impressed with this group. We know a lot about mosquitoes. We know that they bite. We know that they are a health hazard. We know that we can also protect ourselves by wearing clean socks, clean clothes, light colors so they can't see us as well. And our whole objective is to protect ourselves from vector-borne disease. And that's why we are here today. And that's why Globe Observer has the Mosquito Habitat Mapper. Next. The story I'm going to tell today is really a story about how humans and mosquitoes, how we have grown up together. We have actually, over thousands of years, we have adapted so that mosquitoes are uniquely qualified to find people and bite people. And, it's happened in a bunch of ways, but basically, there have been a lot of changes in climate over time, not just now in contemporary climate change, but over millennia. And mosquitoes that once started out being laying their eggs in tree holes and in little puddles, eventually found people putting water in containers, water jars and whatnot. And they said, oh, this is fantastic because I can lay my eggs exactly where I can get a blood meal. And this happened about 10,000 years ago with one of these mosquitoes, Aedes aegypti, the mosquito that's responsible for dengue. It's also called the yellow fever mosquito. So this mosquito began biting people in Africa sometime around 10,000 years ago, or a little bit less. This mosquito then moved all over the world, and as people began to sail, and they would take water jugs, water barrels with them to provision during the trip. And then mosquitoes hitchhiked in those barrels in 1492, but they also hitchhiked in old tires as late as the 70s, allowing other mosquitoes to move from Southeast Asia to all over the Western Hemisphere today. So they are well adapted to work with us, and we continue to try to adapt our behaviors to protect ourselves from vector-borne disease. Next one, please, Emma. So this is why I'm so interested as a climate scientist person about mosquitoes, because mosquitoes tell us about our changing climate. If you've been paying attention when you go out for a picnic, you may realize that the mosquito season, if you're in mid latitudes or upper latitudes, the mosquito seasons are starting earlier and they're ending later. We also know that the range of mosquitoes is expanding as climate warms towards the poles. And as I just mentioned, hitchhiking species are invading new regions where they weren't presently. And because the climate has changed, they're now able to establish and naturalize in those areas. So these are all real important health stories that we need to know about that are going to help us understand what's happening with mosquitoes, their relationship to our changing climate, and how this impacts human health. So we're going to work with the mosquito habitat mapper to try and solve some of these problems. Let's go to the next one, please. And so we have the Globe Observer, and NASA has Dupe science in the palm of your hand. The planet is changing and we are on it. And I'm going to just show you just how easy it is to use this app. It's a very short little 2-minute video showing you how to do mosquito habitat mapper.
Emma, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I was talking to myself the whole time. Yes, so you'll be able to see it momentarily. Just as a forewarning for anyone who's watching with us, there is sometimes a delay with YouTube, so we can send you in the chat as well. So I will play this, except I have a feeling that, let me know if the audio works by a thumbs up, please.
And it doesn't matter about the audio because it's just music.
Perfect.
Yeah. But you can see you can do this anywhere, anytime.
All right.
So we have pull down menus that allow you to identify where you're finding your standing water, which is a potential mosquito habitat. And one of the things we do in our citizen science program is we ask citizen scientists to demonstrate, validate all their observations using photographs. This makes the scientists feel secure about their observations, that there is a record of what citizen scientists do, and that makes this research quality data.
Are the larvae super easy to see?
They are. Yep, they are. We'll show you some pictures in a minute. but they are macroscopic. And here he's dumping out the water. If there's only one thing you do, it's important to dump out standing water, because that is where your mosquitoes are going to try and find the breeding sites that they put their larvae. And if they put eggs in there in about 5 days, you're going to have flying mosquitoes. So we're trying to both collect data for science and also protect our community at the same time. And that's one reason I am so excited about this app. Okay. Thank you for that. I hope that wasn't too confounding having that video in there.
No, I'm so sorry. It's because I didn't have it up already, and then of course my.
So that's good. But here's the question that everybody asks: can NASA see mosquitoes from space? And guess what? No. They can't see mosquitoes from space, but NASA is interested in mosquitoes because it helps us understand the kind of environmental conditions. The sensors in space help us understand the environmental conditions where we might have mosquito outbreaks and then disease following. And so the NASA data is used by scientists to predict and forecast when we're going to have outbreaks. Like right now, we're having a pretty bad West Nile virus outbreak in many parts of the US. And that is something that people can predict from environmental data. Next one. But here's the important piece of this, is that citizen scientists are the ones that make the connection between the satellite data we get from space and the mosquitoes we see on the ground. And in order to do that, we're going to be asking you to use 2 tools on the Globe Observer platform. And that is the land cover tool and the mosquito habitat mapper tool. And you'll see that using the land cover tool is very, very fast. It'll take you probably 5 minutes, but it provides a wealth of information that we need in order to better prepare ourselves as humans from diseases which have plagued us for probably way more than 10,000 years. Okay, next one, please. So we have some scientific goals. There are health goals, which are to engage citizen scientists on fighting local mosquito-borne disease. And one of the things that places like the Pan American Health Organization, WHO, CDC, all of them recommend that we are not going to be able to make a big impact in mosquito-borne disease unless we get the public involved in getting rid of mosquito habitats and doing surveillance. And so we're hoping that this app makes it a little bit more fun, that more people get involved, and we can actually meet these lofty goals of getting many, many, many people involved in mosquito surveillance and mitigation. There are also some really, really important scientific goals as well. As I told you, the data collected by satellites is used to build landscape scale models about when and where we find mosquitoes. And what's really crazy is we really don't have very good data about where mosquitoes are found on the landscape. So this is where you come in by making a mosquito habitat observation and making a land cover observation. We are building up that database, which never existed before. So that's super important. The second thing is citizen scientists tell us where they locate and eliminate dangerous invasive disease-carrying mosquitoes. This is something that is really, really important, and the data that is obtained by citizen scientists is used actively by public health officials and scientists. And then finally, locally, you are protecting the community that you live in by identifying the locations where mosquitoes breed and then eliminating those places. Next one. So let's get started in using our app.
And for anyone who is interested in gaining credit every time they participate in this, if you are a SciStarter account holder, you can do that through the SciStarter affiliate program. If you save this project to your dashboard, which will be dropped in the chat right now, you can go visit the project, and it will be saved to your dashboard, and you'll be sent to the Globe website to download the app. If you've already done this part, by the way, the real important part is that if you go and create your Globe account, you're going to use the same email address you use to make your SciStarter account. And then once you're in there, to make it even more secure, under settings in the Globe app, you can connect your Globe observations to SciStarter, which will then allow you to authorize the participation across 2 apps. So that allows us to track how often you contribute, and then you'll have that information available to you on your dashboard.
That's super cool. Thank you so much. And so, yeah, we're really encouraging people to support our partner SciStarter in this effort. I'm going to show you now quickly how to use the tool. It's very easy. What you want to do is download the app from the app store that you utilize. You will just create an account using your email address. You'll get a one-time email that has your password in it. And then you sign in to Globe Observer with your email and password. This is a one-time only thing. I'm telling you why we're doing this. This is NASA is a federally funded program, and they are very serious about protection of individual data. What that means is that once you're in our system, your your email's gone, and so you're identified by a number, so nobody can get into the database and locate you or any personal information. So it is a little bit annoying, but it's for our protection. Next one, please. So I'm going to show you now that if you speak a different language other than English, we do have at the very bottom of the app, you'll see a gear. You can change the language. It's in Spanish as well as 14 other languages. And also, if you are if you're leading a program or you're a teacher, you can also create a team, and that will allow you to track your own data as well. So those are also possibilities. Next one, please. So I'm going to show you first the land cover tool because it's very easy, and we really, really need this data. It's very important for this. So we have the land cover app is on the platform. The apps are very similar, so that if there's a learning curve to learn one, but then you can basically use all 4 apps on the platform. And you'll see that there's some short tutorials. They take about 5 minutes to get started. You open up the app, make a new land cover observation. It will automatically download the date, the time, the latitude, and the longitude. So you got a good geolocation. And here is the tip that when you look at the estimated accuracy, if it is not sufficient, you can press that reset button until the GPS service that you're using has identified the satellites, and you will rapidly go from an accuracy of 1,000 meters to down to maybe 10 or 12, or maybe even down to 3 meters. If you get to about 10 meters, this is sufficient accuracy for our purposes. The next thing they ask you to do is to describe the surface conditions in a yes/no way. This is because this app really supports NASA's Earth observing system, and sometimes the spectral data that is received by sensors on satellites, snow and ice might be reflective and look like water, or clouds might look like snow. So this helps us in order to, you're on the ground, you're telling us what we see, and that helps us validate our data. Okay, next one, please. So this is the super easy part. You have your app in hand, and all you have to do is take 6 photographs. And so what you do is you hold up your phone like this, and you take a picture up, down, north, south, east, and west. And this is important because then we have a description of what the ground conditions are. We have a description of what the atmospheric conditions are. And we have 4 conditions here that let us know exactly what the land cover is. This is important because we are putting that mosquito habitat in its broader ecological context. So that is super important. The other pro tip I want to share with you here is that once you collect these observations, it's going to say, do you want to go on and describe what you found? You don't have to do that. For our purposes, if you're interested in just taking the pictures, that's fine. But please do not save your data to the app, but don't upload it unless you're back at home. Now, what's really cool about our app is it runs offline. And so you'll be able to actually take pictures and use the app in the field when you're away from cell service. But there is a problem that if you try to upload the data when there isn't cell service, it'll kind of go into a loop and it'll stop you from using the app. So that's one thing that you have to remember. So thank you so much for putting that in your head. I sometimes forget, and then I'm just really mad because my observations are over until I get home. Okay, next one. So when you are using the Mosquito Habitat Mapper, I just want to let you know at the end of the habitat mapper, it'll remind you, are you ready to take a land cover observation? So you will get that message at the very end. So you won't forget. But when you open up your mosquito habitat mapper, look, it looks almost the same as the other one, where you have the date, the time, the latitude, the longitude. It gives you a map next. And there are basically 4 steps to the app. You locate and describe where you are, you sample and count the mosquitoes, you photograph and identify if you care to do that step. And last is you decommission the breeding site if possible. So we're going to run through all those steps now. Next one. So the first thing you do is just locate sources of standing water. And any standing water is a potential breeding site. You can identify it in the app and you can say, yes, I found a potential breeding site. No, I don't see mosquitoes. That is good data. You can also dump out water before mosquitoes are found. That's really important, and we want that data. So to locate the sources of standing water, you'll see that sometimes mosquitoes are found in containers, like we saw in the video. Sometimes they're floodwater mosquitoes, and they are found in ponds or puddles or irrigation ditches. Here we have some people that are looking in an epiphytic plant where there's a little container where water is being collected. That's a great place to find mosquitoes too. So you're going to want to find those places, document where you found it, and then go to the next step. Okay. So there's a bunch of different tools that you can use to sample the water. We like to use a turkey baster to do this. You can also use a cup or a mosquito dipper. But you can also ask, if you're working with your public health department, and I'm sure they'll be interested in what you're doing, ask them what method they prefer for you to use. Next one. Then what we're going to do is just grab some of the water, put it in a cup, and then look and see if you have mosquito larvae. And they are macroscopic. They're about 1/4 of a centimeter in size, so you can see them. But you're really going to need to use a little clip-on microscope in actuality to see the details. Okay, let's go to the next slide, and you'll see that the next step, there are some mosquitoes in that cup. And what you'll see is we're going to ask you then to provide a count of the larvae and the pupa in your sample. The pupae look like commas. They are the ones that are just about ready to become adults. Once a mosquito goes from being a larva to being a pupa, it's less than 24 hours before they will become an adult. The long, thin ones are the larvae. But if you count here, you'll see you have, I don't know how many, 3, 6, 9, 12, maybe 18 specimens there. And they do look different because they're probably at different stages of development. But you can look at them more closely using the clip-on microscope. Okay, next one. So then you can take part of the sample and put it on a little white tray or a paper plate. This will allow you to look at the mosquito. If you don't have time, if you're in the field, you can just say, nope, I've looked at the water and I'm done. Or you can say, I've looked at the water, I've seen that there are larvae, I'm done. Or you can say, I want to photograph a mosquito. Really hope you do it. We need that data desperately, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. So if you can take a photo, it's great. You don't have to identify it, but it's very, very helpful for us to have those photographs. And we photograph the larvae by putting it on a white reflective surface and then looking at it with our phone and with a clip-on microscope. Next one. So you're going to attach this macro lens to your phone, just like this. You cover the lens on your phone with this tool. You turn on the light, and then you're able to take a photo through your camera. And what's exciting is that you do this all in app, so that you don't have to step out of the app to do this. You are actually prompted in the app to take a photo, and it shows up right in the app. Next one. How cool is this? So I just put a couple of slides in here because this is where people who are citizen scientists that are working on their own sometimes have trouble. And that is when you clip on the microscope on top of the lens, you'll see that there's kind of like some diffuse light there. And what you want to do you want to clip on the macro lens and line it up so you have a perfect circle. What that means is then you actually have the best resolution that you can. So just move it around till you get a perfect circle. And then the next one you'll see is then you can line up the lens so it's on top of the specimen. And the second pro tip I'm going to give you is that if you look at this lens here, what you will see is that there is a clear plastic collar right here at the bottom of the lens. And what you do is you put that right on the plate. You just let it there and it supports it so it doesn't move around. And these are designed so that is exactly the precise focal length that you need in order to look at your specimen. So this makes it very easy for younger children to use, as well as citizen scientists, which is this designed for. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. And many clip-on, so it says, I'd already talked about the clear collar. Next one. And then once you have determined that you have mosquito larvae, you're going to want to look at the diagnostic features. And we're going to talk about that next. So let's go and look at the larval key. And we have a dichotomous key that is built into the app. Next one. And you'll see that when you take a picture, this is what I just told you, you take a picture and your picture that you just took will show up right in the app. And then you can use that to compare and contrast with the dichotomous key. You can also skip the identification and give us the photos. At that point, you have given us all the important information that we need. But if you'd like to identify your specimen, we can help you do that too. Next slide, please. So we have a key that's built in there, and it will just say, identify your specimen. Yes, it looks like a mosquito larva. You're comparing what the picture you took to this dichotomous key, or no, my sample looks different. We're looking for a roundish head, a broad thorax, segments in the abdomen, and very often, many mosquitoes have a siphon at the end. This is how they breathe air, although Anopheles mosquitoes don't have that. So there you'll just be looking for those little white gills at the end. But here is the really exciting thing. The pictures that you have taken are probably enough for people to identify the specimen. And if you don't want to go through this step, all the photographs that are being taken by Globe mosquito habitat mappers are being sent to an AI that we have built through a National Science Foundation grant. And then the AI will go through, look at your photo, and tell us what it thinks it is. I want to say this is in beta, so we're not yet telling you what the AI says, but we are in the process of building this right now. So that's exciting. And then the last step, of course, is action. Are you able to eliminate this breeding site from use? Can you cover the water? Can you pour the water out? Can you put a screen over the cistern? Can you put a larvicide pellet into the water, if, for instance, if it's a stock tank or something like that where you need the open water? We ask you to say yes or no, and we hope that that's a motivating factor to help people to take those steps to protect their community. Okay, next one, please. Okay, very important. Dump out the water. I just want to stress that again. Next one. And so what I thought I would do now, I've got about 5 minutes left. I wanted to show you how you can make a safe mosquito larvae trap. So if you have children, or if you work with kids at a library or a museum, or you're a teacher, this is a really great thing to do, because it will allow you to obtain specimens that you can then use to learn more about mosquitoes. So I've got everything I need right here. I have a 2-liter pop bottle. I have a piece of netting. This piece of netting is from the last onions that I bought. I've got a rubber band, and I have an emery board. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this bottle just like that. And I have bottle in 2 pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of netting. And remember, I said this is a safe trap. The reason it's safe is that if a kid builds this and then they forget about it, and 5 days later mosquitoes hatch, they become adults, and you don't want them to fly away. And so by having this piece of netting here, the mosquito eggs can go in, but the live mosquitoes can't fly out. So what we're going to do is just put this over the mouth of the bottle. We're going to secure it with a rubber band like this. Then you take this part of the bottle You're going to fill this with water up to about where this is going to be in the bottle. And you want to put something in there so the mosquito moms are attracted to it. A little bit of natural water from a pond is a good thing to put in there. Grass clippings are a great bait that people have used. Some people have used fish food. We've had great success with grass. Get a few stones and put it in there so it doesn't blow over the water. And then you just simply put this on top like this. Make sure that the water, make sure that the water does not go up higher.
Call from 1-8004 73974.
Love when that happens to me too. No worries.
I should have unplugged it. Yeah. And they're always telemarketers, right?
Oh, always.
So anyway, your water will go right to the top of the bottle that's been inverted. And then the other thing you're going to want to do before you put it in, is that the mosquitoes are going to lay their eggs right down by the water. And this is an adaptation of mosquito moms to make sure there's going to be water there for the whole cycle, the larval and pupal cycle. And so just take an emery board or a piece of sandpaper, and you're just going to rough up that area so there's a sticky place for those mosquito eggs. And then the next time it rains, the water is going to flow into this trap. It's going to hit those eggs. The eggs are going to fall down into the water, and then they're going to develop. Now, if that's too much work for you, and if you promise that you're going to check it in five days, you can also just take any bucket and put a piece of wood in it. And this is also a very, very good way to get mosquitoes. They tend to be a little bit more productive, but they're not as safe. So you have two choices there. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Okay. And this is the slide I wanted to show you, just to let you know, in case you think that this is not going to be a valuable thing of your time. No, it's incredibly valuable. You are protecting your community. You are helping us understand mosquito-borne disease, understanding where we're finding mosquitoes. And here is, this is a year old already, but this is the data where citizen scientists have given us information about where mosquitoes are found. All the light blue and dark blue dots are Globe Observer. The red dots are from a project called Mosquito Alert, which is found in Spain and is used a lot in Northern Europe. The green is iNaturalist, which is used a lot in Northern Europe and also in the eastern part of the US and Canada. So we all work together on how to do this. Our project is a little bit more sophisticated because we are actually trying to understand the environmental part of this, but we need all those data and all those pictures. And look at these beautiful pictures that were submitted by Globe Observer, Mosquito Habitat Mapper citizen scientists in 2022. It's just really fantastic. And we've been using this data, importantly, to develop the AI that I was just talking about. Okay, next one, please. I just have to give you 1 minute to show you that you can get this data, use this data, analyze this data. The most important thing for you to know is all Globe data is open. You're protected. Your information is not there, but your scientific data is there. There's a drop-down menu at globe.gov, and we have two ways for you to look at your data. I'm going to show those to you briefly. The first way, next one, is there is a map-based interface where what you do is you go into the different data layers. You say, I want to look at mosquito habitat mapper data. It will pop up on the screen, and then each one of those dots will have a map box that can open up. This is a great way for you to say, oh, you know, if you talk to your neighbor, oh, you found a mosquito, let's take a look at it. You can do it this way. All right, the next one is just to let you know that we have something called the Advanced Data Access Tool, or ADAT. You can select your filter. You can also filter it by schools, teachers, partners, and teams. I actually don't know if we have a SciStarter team, Emma, but we should actually build one, because that would be a really great thing to do. And then if everybody joined that team, that data can be downloaded and looked at once in this particular data access tool. And if anybody's interested in this, you have both Cassie and myself, you'll have our emails, and we can give you more information on how to do the analysis and obtain the data. We think this is really important. We don't want to use you just as data drones collecting data. We want you to, interact with the data as much as you want. All right, the next couple slides I think are really important. Just to let you know that we're at the end of our webinar today, but this is not the end of us working with you. Cassie runs the Globe Mission Mosquito Citizen Science Group, and we have monthly webinars. You are welcome to join these. If you go to this URL, the globe.gov web mission mosquito, you'll see in the menu bar something saying webinars. Sign up. You'll get to hear from other scientists, from other citizen scientists collecting data. It's really a fun and exciting group, and we hope that you will accept our invitation and join us. We just had one last week with a woman from Africa talking about the work that she was doing with her students in Kenya. So very, very exciting talks. Next one. And then I just wanted to let you know that if you're doing this for your own purposes, or also providing some professional development for teachers, or you're working with kids, we have lots of great educational resources. Cassie is a professional educator. Her team, along with a wonderful science teacher, Liz Burke, have developed all these materials for your use. We also have these wonderful materials such as Beyond the Bite, which is a very simple description of different diseases. There is now an activity that just came on board yesterday where the students can go through a simulation trying to identify mosquito-borne diseases. And I want to do a quick shout out for the Zika-zine, because if you think, oh my gosh, this is so much information, I don't know if I can hold on to it, just download the Zika-zine, because this is a child-friendly, Rusty-friendly cartoon story about 3 adventurous mosquitoes. And they tell you how the citizen science works and why it's important. And this is a real crowd pleaser. And my gosh, it's in what, Lisa? I think it's also in 12 languages. And there are also other resources that are associated with this. So these are great things for you to take a look at. We also have some wonderful materials that actually could be used in classrooms or with your student at home. The Larva Hunter's Guide. I can't go into these things, but please go and look at them and reach out to Cassie if you want more information. Okay, and with that, let's go to the next slide. And we're ready for some questions and answers. I think I kept it to 40 minutes. It was hard.
You're good on time if you wanted to add anything else, or if you want me to go back to any of the slides, or you want to spotlight.
No, I think we did it at breakneck speed, but I think this is really, really fantastic. Cassie, would you be able to put the link for the Zika-zine maybe in the chat, because I'd really like people to see that there you go. Thank you, Roland. That's fantastic. So because that is something I think that it's a really nice summary and a lot more fun than what I just did for the last 40 minutes.
Just for fun, I am going to share a picture of what we're looking at. And for anyone who's asking about if they would get a recording or these resources, etc., we send a follow-up email, so you will receive all of these things. And if you are looking for anything that you can't find yet, oh my gosh, this is adorable.
It is adorable.
I love this. If you're looking for anything that you can't find, you can always reach out to us or the Globe Mosquito team, and they can let you know how to find it. But this is wonderful.
I love it. Go back to that one page, so you'll see there's a page there. This is my favorite of all the cartoon panels, where we have Maurice, who decides that he wants to be the first mosquito in NASA's astronaut program, because he heard that NASA is interested in mosquitoes, and his friend Hester has to tell him, no, you know what, they're really more interested in the data from the space that tells us where we like to lay our eggs. And he's absolutely crestfallen. So it's a really funny, really tongue-in-cheek, but very scientifically supported document.
Excellent. That's awesome. That actually brings up a question I had as a part of the Q&A. And anyone who has a question, feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll look through as we're chatting. But because Maurice, the astronaut, is wondering what NASA is doing with space and mosquitoes, what is the goal when we have enough data? Like, what are the actions that NASA takes, or what is the goal from this project that we're trying to enact across the world to protect ourselves from mosquito-borne illnesses? How do we do that?
Thank you for that question. It's a fantastic question. And so there are sort of two levels at which our citizen science efforts are taking place. At our community level, we are asking people to find places where mosquitoes breed, get rid of them, dump them out before they actually are used as mosquito habitats. Also, if they find mosquito habitats, to dump them out so those mosquitoes don't become disease vectors. So that is the local piece of this. And we collect all that data because it helps us understand where mosquito outbreaks are. And it's really important. If you were in the US, you might think, oh, I've got a mosquito control district that does that for me. Well, more than 75% of the US doesn't have any mosquito control district. It's really all about us. And so this is important. For the science piece, getting back to what NASA is interested in, it's a little bit technical, but basically our scientists who are interested in making predictive models of when and where we have outbreaks of vector-borne disease, what they do is they look at the environmental parameters that facilitate growth of mosquito populations. These are things like high humidity, precipitation, higher temperatures, soil moisture tells us a little bit about humidity, and so on and so forth. And then also land cover. And then all these things are put into models like a random forest model or some other kind of other tool. And then using some complex algorithms, they will say, oh, okay, it looks like we're going to have a bad West Nile virus outbreak this year in Colorado, which is exactly what's happening. But to make these models more precise, we have a good handle on about what temperatures mosquitoes like, what precipitation and humidity is important, but we really don't understand where to find mosquitoes on the landscape at the level of resolution that we have in data that's obtained from space. So at 10 meter, 30 meter resolution, we need to have a better understanding of that so we can quantify that piece. So right now, we don't really do much with that land cover data. But if we are able to develop quantitative models attributing mosquito habitats to land cover, that's really going to help. But we need tons of data to do that. So this is not something a new PhD student wants to do for their dissertation. It won't happen during their lifetime, but it's a good thing for someone old like me who doesn't have to make my dissertation supervisor happy. I can just work on this. And this is something that I think in the future we're really going to need and want. So I hope that is a good answer.
Yeah, that's more than I was expecting. That's so fascinating. Or just thinking about a PhD student trying to go to everywhere on the planet, trying to quantify like the ratio of mosquitoes versus what land cover you're looking at. That's a tough thing to do.
Right. And until citizen science happened, there was no hope of getting that kind of data. Most of the data we have about mosquitoes, frankly, is mosquitoes raised in the lab and then subjected to different conditions in an experimental format. The little bit of data we do have from the environment are, for instance, trapping experiments, but they're very limited in scope. So this is really a really exciting and brand new area of mosquito research.
That's awesome.
Couldn't happen without mosquito. It couldn't happen without citizen scientists. This is why I love SciStarter.
We love it too. So citizen science is where we're all at for that exact reason. We care about the stuff happening around us, right? So for any of you who are suddenly motivated by or not suddenly, but maybe just increased motivation about all this, I'm excited to have you guys on board for using the mosquito globe. Such a long name, I apologize. Globe Mosquito Habitat Mapper. I will get it fully right without looking at it at one point. Yeah, so I mean, I know I'll be doing it. I'm out in Arizona, and it's still I get bit by things, but they're not always mosquitoes or different types of fly type things that bite, would they all be considered mosquitoes, or are they all different?
No, mosquitoes are mosquitoes. So there are 3,500 different species of mosquitoes, and only maybe 200 or so of them actually bite people. And of those, a smaller fraction of them actually transmit disease. It's just that there are just billions of them, and that's why it causes a problem for humans. But, also our animals are at risk. For instance, things like heartworm is transmitted by mosquitoes as well. And so, so mosquitoes are just one of the insects that can cause diseases in humans, but it's the one that probably has the greatest impact internationally.
Wow, yeah. Speaking of mosquito impact, depending on where you are, do you have advice for someone who's looking into knowing when is best in their area to check for the season to actually do these observations, or would you recommend year round?
This is a great question. And oh gosh, I can answer that, but you're not going to believe the answer. We expect the mosquito season to start once the temperatures get to be about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's when they begin to become active. If you're in Arizona, if you've got 117-degree days, the mosquitoes are not going to be active. That's too hot for them. So it has to be within that range. They are more and more active until they get to be about 100 degrees, and then or 104 degrees. And then after that, they drop off. So the mosquito season is when you have those, your temperatures are, between those areas. The other thing is, though, and this is really scary, but last year or a couple of years ago, some researchers found out that mosquitoes were overwintering and alive in parking garages in Baltimore, Maryland. It's just that much warmer in the parking garage that they are able to winter over and be in a larval stage and hang out until it gets better. And so I would normally say, yeah, just during your regular mosquito season, and you can find that out from your public health department because it's going to be different every place. That's when you want to do it. But mostly, during the winter, you're not going to find them, except these crazy things that are happening now in these macro and micro environments.
That is insane. That reminds me, we had a conversation a couple weeks ago about National Moth Week and how there's the asynchronous phenology. I don't remember the term, but it was how we were missing seasons, like organisms that would usually be around around the same time and interact, like the phenological asynchrony. That's what it was. Phenological asynchrony, where you have someone, or like, I don't know, a caterpillar that misses their shot at eating a certain plant because the seasons don't match up for when they're born and all. And so it's really fascinating to me that there's these little tiny microcosms of little mosquitoes in parking garages that are alive. What are they even using to survive? Is it just what other than the females drinking the blood of humans and animals, what else are they doing?
This is a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And I know we're almost out of time, but I will tell you, mosquitoes don't eat blood, right?
Oh, okay.
The mosquito larvae, they eat small microorganisms that are in the water. There's some mosquitoes like Toxioranchides that eat other mosquitoes. There are cannibal mosquitoes. Those are the good ones because they eat the ones that can get us sick. But in general, mosquitoes are pollinators. Mosquitoes usually take their food from plants and nectar. And so it's only what happens is after the mosquitoes hatch, they mate immediately. And then the female is then off and she's eating flowers to get her own energy. And then she's also looking for hosts that she can derive a blood meal from. So it depends on different parts of their life cycle. They will be eating different things. And in fact, the pupa, which is one of the mosquitoes in the life cycle, they don't eat it all during that stage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's too much to know. And if you want to know more, I hope you'll join our community of practice and come to some of our webinars that Cassie runs. But gosh, this has been so much fun today to share a little bit about the Globe Observer Mosquito Habitat Mapper with everybody today. And Roland and Emma, it's been so much fun planning this and working with you over the past month to do it.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, both of you, Cassie and Rusty. It's been a pleasure. I'm just endlessly curious. I have more questions in my mind. So I will find a time to talk to you about those a different day. But for anyone who's listening, thank you all for joining us. And also, yes, we will send you the recording, assuming you were registered for this. And if you have questions, you can send your questions to, oh, and I missed a Q&A, I'm sorry, to the info@scistarter.org. Email. We did have one question, just so I can cover that one. Hanain, thank you. Are there diseases transmitted from the inner space to the outer space, such as viruses? Inner space to the outer space. I'm not positive what that means. Does that sound familiar to you?
I don't know if this individual means outer space, like above, up and above the Earth, but you know, I think this is an area that we really don't know a lot about. We are finding viruses that have existed for tens of thousands of years that are still active. And I believe there are some really, really resistant critters that we have, maybe not so smartly, but we put into space, like tardigrades, which are able to live in a no water, no air environment and be revived. So honestly, I cannot answer that question. But when it comes to mosquitoes, mosquitoes can't live in outer space.
That's good, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I love tardigrades too.
We love tardigrades. Yes. Oh my gosh. One of my students, when I was a 5th grade teacher, did a whole project on tardigrades, and I hadn't heard of them yet. And so when I was like, I failed as a teacher. I didn't know about this before. I mean, I didn't, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm so impressed with this student's ability to think through these things. Excellent. All right. Thank you all for being here. I just want to close this out with a couple of updates for upcoming events, and then we will see you next week. So next week, we're talking about how to improve the air you breathe. So if any of you are in Arizona, especially like I am, we're going to be talking about it's assessing your indoor air quality kit, and how to, regardless of where you are and whether or not you have access to a kit, what you can do about knowing logically how to improve the indoor air you're around, whether it's at home or in different areas around your, I don't know, your frequent haunts, etc. And we'll talk about how to build a CR box to filter your air, and also join us next week for all of those things. We also have a National Video Game Day for September 12th. We're talking about Gamers for Science, which are all citizen science mini games that you can do. So that'll be really fun. I'm going to be testing out all the video games beforehand, and I'm very excited to do so. And also scared because I'm terrible at video games. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. Also, lastly, we also have a new series, the Do NASA Science Live, if you haven't already heard me talk about it. It's a NASA partnership with SciStarter to do different events throughout the next couple of years that are highlighting very specific moments in time, especially the upcoming eclipses. So this next one is in September. So coming up on the 19th, it is hosted by Phil Plait, and we're going to be talking, who's the bad astronomer, if you haven't heard of him yet, or if you have, awesome, look into more of his things. We'll be talking about the eclipses and a bunch of different projects you can be involved in. So if you're curious about that, you can register at that QR code, and you can also use that registration link at scistarter.org/go/do NASA Science Live. And we look forward to having you there. As usual, we have a million resources. We will send you all these resources, so you don't need to worry about memorizing them. And otherwise, we will see you next week. If you want to fill out our survey, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Otherwise, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And thank you to our speakers again. Thank you, Cassie, for being in the chat to help us out. And hope you all have a wonderful and not mosquito bite full rest of your summer. All right. Bye, everyone. I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook. Bye-bye.